side. He's going to be running into a Reaper here. Not going to be dealing with it there.
Wow.
The Reaper gets
the
a full
Reaper
scout.
actually, yeah, scouting that Banshee is the biggest deal, I think, with that Reaper. And now the Reaper's actually coming up here to engage directly. That's a really nice cap for HuT. Yeah, that's dead.
Wow. Huge move there.
Really massive. And Azure's got his own Raven coming up back at home, but losing that Banshee, he bought Cloak, he bought a Banshee. That's so many minerals and so much gas for zero. Absolutely nothing. He didn't even get a single hit point of damage with that Banshee.
Oh, he's making another one, so the Cloak will not go completely out of use. But still, it's going to be hard to find a way. Now that HuT knows that's an option, we do see that Viking and Raven kind of just patrolling towards the back of the main base as well.
Well, I like this little patrol here, just looking for a second Banshee. There is a second Banshee on the way here for Azure. And HuT is starting to transition here into Marine and Siege tank. Stim a little bit late here for Azure, as he is going to go into Marine Siege as well. Neither player going to invest really heavily into Cyclones. HuT making a second Viking as well. But having the air advantage in TVT is massive, because it's like, you know, Mooglade, when you get that extra air advantage, your Siege tanks have that extra range on them, and you don't need to keep burning scans.
Gotta be careful here, though. Don't want to be fighting up ramp, and I completely agree with you there. It's just about when you begin to try and invest in that air advantage, right? So it's very, very early sort of investment for Azure to get those Vikings out. He's got to have enough tanks in the ground to make it worth it as well, and positioning for it.
Azure's got this much faster third base coming up here, so he's going to try and take an economy lead. Certainly looks to be that case, because he's really keeping HuT on his side of the map. There's Banshee.
Backdoor Banshee. Cloaks in.
It gets through and it gets into the middle line, so it should get an SCV or two before it gets taken out.
Wow, very nicely done there from Azure, sneaking in. Probably going to end up getting 4 before it gets shut down. Wow.
Oh, yeah, it gets 4. It's not bad.
Not bad, not bad. Same time though, Cyclone hot pursuit. I think that
grenade actually, yeah, I was going to say that grenade actually helped HuT a little bit, got that Cyclone a little bit closer. So the Cyclone really can't chase too well here. It can only like shoot one rocket, and then before the next rocket's ready, the whatever it's chasing is out of range. So HuT's got to pressure Azure all the way back home, but Azure still has this Banshee on the other side of the map, and HuT's bringing the Raven and the Vikings with this.
Oh, man, a little bit of an oversight here. HuT bringing everything. There is a turret, but it's only on one side of that natural, so we can just sit on the other side. Pretty much stopped mining completely.
There's one Raven here for Azure. So he has enough energy to lock down 2 tanks, and it looks like he's going to go for it. Locks down that 1 tank. The Vikings landing for a little bit extra DPS on the ground for HuT. Azure's going to drop some auto turrets to try and gun down these Cyclones and tanks, but they get burned through. HuT's still pressuring here. If he can get that tank. Lock it down. Interference Matrix. He doesn't lock it down. He keeps that Raven energy up for something else. It's going to be auto turret here.
Oh my lord, the tank is just destroying SCVs, but the other side, that Banshee has done almost as much damage by itself, and now it's in the main base. There is no turret there.
Yeah, a little bit of missed micro here on the defense and on the attack there from HuT, but Azure with this Banshee really keeping him alive in this game, and this Banshee wasn't on the other side of the map, he would be in dire straits right now.
Oh, it is a complete game winner at this point, man. 21 SCVs have gone down from a single Banshee just because there was no turret in the main base. There was no centered turret in the natural.
There's no Marine force with these tanks either, so how far can they go, man? Like, once that Marine ball gets up a little bit higher for Azure, he can break this position, kill the Raven even. Scans here from Azure, but he's going to lose a tank battle. HuT's doing a good job with his tank push at the moment. Oh, if he can get Stim! If he can get Stim, that's huge.
Oh, he needs to repair it. There's an SCV right next to it. Oh, no. He's going to keep vision. Finishes the job.
Stim is denied, and that's so massive here. HuT is down in army and down in workers, but he has Stim and his opponent does not. He's got combat shield as well. Even combat shield being delayed here for Azure. He has no bio upgrades except for +1 armor kicking in.
I'm surprised we're not seeing Azure move out and try and counterattack behind this. I mean,
well, he doesn't have Stim. It's so hard to win against a guy that's got tanks and Marines on his side of the map without those abilities.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a tough one, man. Wow. At the end of it, it probably ends up pretty even when you look at it. The Banshee did so much damage, and Azure didn't lose too many SCVs beyond that natural. So, oh man, still a pretty even game. But we are seeing that drop into the main base as well now from HuT. A lot of tanks and a handful of Marines going to be setting up shop.
And once again, there is no stim here from Azure, so this is going to be tough for him to get in here with these Marines. He does have a lot more Marines, but closing the distance between the tanks and HuT is going to be the hardest thing to do. He's going for the medevac dump, and that's a great move from Azure, because he has those medevacs to help him out, and not that many Marines from HuT to pick them out of the sky. And that's the way he cleans them up. Very nicely done from Azure.
Very nicely done. That's 3 less tanks to worry about as well.
Indeed. And Azure had that faster third, but has he put it on location yet? Is it still in the main? Looks like it's still in the main.
Still in the main, just using it as an SCV builder and Mueller right now. And looks like HuT's just finished up as well, upgrading to the orbital. No one in too much of a hurry to try and take the third. I guess they're just still kind of recouping from all the SCV losses early game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't look like HuT's getting aggressive just yet. He's not loading up any drops at the moment or anything like that. He is starting a move out. Okay, there we go. So I say, if HuT just sits back, this game's going to really even out. But if he uses combat shield and stim to his advantage, and +1 attack as well. Don't forget that. He is potentially going to be able to do a lot of damage here to Azure. Azure scans, sees nothing in the natural, and that's very concerning, because he knows that there's an attack heading towards him. He hasn't seen where it's coming from just yet.
A couple of safety scans. Where is this army, he wonders? Where do I find it? Stim nearly finished, but not yet. Still, another 20 seconds or so before it can
another
really
Doom drop.
utilized.
This time, HuT has a lot more Marines in location, but Azure also has Vikings and a Bull of Marines waiting as well. Oh, this drop play from HuT looking like it's deflected here. He's thinking the better part of Valor. Better pull back.
This is huge.
Don't lose that medevac! Oh!
Wow.
Well,
just like that, Maynard.
That's right, just like that. And that's given time for Azure to get stim. So now it's really quite even. Although he doesn't have combat shield just yet, so not quite even just yet.
And looks like we're going to see 2 drops meet on the right side of the map as well.
This is awkward.
And
more Marines for Azure.
Whoa! Reaction from HuT. But there's a tanky in one of them and a handful of Marines in the other. I think this is a good trade for Azure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With more Marines, when it's a drop versus a drop battle, it's one of those awkward exchanges. Having more Marines is always better, as things unload from those medevacs one at a time. Marines have insane DPS. Well, don't lose that tank.
Looks like both players pretty much getting their third bases at the same time as well. Man, this is an even game.
Yeah, it's really evened out. I mean, it's been like the early game was a bit of a dumpster fire for both players, losing so many SCVs, losing stim and all this other stuff, but it really is starting to calm down. Both players have decided to finally put gloves on, and this isn't a bare-knuckle brawl in the middle of the street anymore. It's a legitimate boxing game. But it is starting to sort of show up here that Azure is almost certainly going to go for a drop with this small push, but spot a Marine from HuT, catches these Marines and medevacs moving on the outside.
Oh,
Does he
not
try
gonna
and...
react to it just yet. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he's a lot of dead space here for the Vikings to dance out of range of those Marines and just hammer on those medevacs. And HuT's heading towards that third base, but Azure already has a tank sieged up and a big ball of Marines waiting for him.
Big scan, though. Could get a really nice position with these tanks.
He certainly could.
Creeps on up, slides on in. In range of that tank, though.
Oh, late on the siege here from Azure, and if HuT is in range of that command center, he's dropping into the main base, gets one of those tanks.
Stops mining on that third base. The drop in the main base is not going to be too much. It's quite small and has been cleaned up by those Vikings. Now a battle for the third base positioning is on. Still no combat shields for Azure.
Yeah, he never started it. That's absolutely a mistake, but it's what happens though, right? Like when you lose your tech lab earlier in the game and you forget stim, you're like, oh god, I need stim so badly, and you forget that tech lab has a second job ahead of it, and that is to get combat shield for your Marines. He's stimming with some Marines here, but not enough. That's 3 seconds in time.
I think he might have thought those tanks were in range. He was going to try and tank a little bit with those Marines, and just not the case.
Just barely aren't. Azure's making some movements in the map here. He had a drop heading towards the middle of the map, but he hasn't gone too deep. Both players have got sensor towers up. HuT's sensor tower I like a lot more. It's covering that third base, so if Azure tries to do the same bit of damage to him to where HuT's got his third base, then HuT can react very, very quickly. Looks like he's going to try and use those drops to try and go into the main, where HuT still has Vikings on patrol.
Now we are seeing a small contingent from HuT rotate up the left side of the map, maybe looking to try and set up a position in the main. At the same time, a drop into the main base, but losing a full medivac of Marine again.
Now, Azure does clean up this location. Looks like he's going to get some medevacs as well, but HuT should be able to clean this up. With medevac support and these Marines, they aren't losing this fight. Oh my god, he's just stepping up to the natural!
Oh no. A lot of damage going down. The tanks are unsieging, but the siege tanks are sieged up on the south of it as well. So any sort of reinforcements are going to get shelled. And there might not even be enough Marines to help clean this up, and that natural might be forfeit.
Yeah, that natural command center is very low in hit points as well. HuT could actually not only kill SCVs, but potentially command center here. Liberator comes out to try and push back these Marines, and HuT will give up the ground. But you're right, Moonglade, he has this tank positioning. If Azure tries to come in and clean up those Marines, he's going to take some big shells. Oopsie daisy. Speaking of, that medevac is so low on hit points. Please don't load that up. A harsh sneeze
Just
from any one of those Marines inside. Yeah, a little bit of turbulence, a harsh breeze. And that medevac down. That's right. Down it goes.
Big advantage for HuT at this point. He's delayed so much mining, got so many advantageous trades. He's looking at a good position to try and close this one out. He just needs to get another good position with his next set of reinforcements that are sliding up the right side. No tanks with this one, though. Oh, now he does.
He's just plucking one there from earlier. This is a tank that I preferred earlier. Coming through here for this attack to the third base. I think HuT's done a great job slowing down Azure. Like, he's managed to kill a lot of workers, which Azure's not replenishing. He's actually not producing SCVs at all right now. He's only making units and sensor towers.
Sitting on 42 minutes.
That's right. And Azure's not really got a whole lot of army behind him as well. Whereas HuT's got these 2-2 upgrades, he's got +3 on attack on the way, and a 4th base on location. Azure's starting to slow down, and HuT's really speeding up.
And combat shields.
And combat shields, don't forget that.
Combat shields.
Extra 10 hit points per Marine. Pretty big deal.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is not looking good at all for Azure. He's kind of just been, I guess, his momentum's kind of been shattered here. He's just trying to, like, react to everything instead of really trying to make a decision on what he needs to do next and how he's going to find his way back into this. Always on the back foot, always deflecting.
Yeah, certainly we got ourselves a push here from HuT. He's got a lot of Marines here. Once again, they have combat shield and Azure's do not. He hasn't realized it just yet. Liberators is a pretty big advantage for Azure, as HuT doesn't have that many Vikings anymore. Both players only have 1 Viking apiece. But with this Marine advantage and the fact that they are so much more powerful here for HuT, I feel like you could actually negate the Liberators kind of a little bit. Azure also is not getting mech upgrades, so HuT's tanks are also stronger.
Yeah, just a lot of upgrades in general for Azure just being not being considered right now. It's just spending all his money on, I guess, Marines and trying to just salvage his army, and that's basically it, because he's not making SCVs either.
Yeah, not making SCVs right now from Azure is just him freaking out a little bit. You see that HuT is at the point where you don't really need any more. He's at 65 workers and a 4th base. Like, he's good. He can just mule from here on out. This is actually quite nice from HuT, sieging on this location. He not only gets through the sensor tower, breaks down a couple of supply depots, and now the main's very open again for drop play because both players have lost their medevacs, lost their Vikings rather. This counterattack from Azure might be his way back into the game.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like it could sneak its way in. It is going to be into the main base, and the main base does have a fair amount of anti-air.
Oh. Yeah, 3 turrets. But I think if you're Azure, you just go for it anyway. It says you have to do something. Like, you have to do something. If he doesn't hit the economy of HuT or production or something like that, he's just going to fall apart. Well, as we go, is this a big attack from HuT, and a lot of that army supply is in those medevacs?
Oh my lord. Somehow finds a way around back into the main base here. At the same time, though, huge engagements on both sides, the natural and the third base. The main is under fire, and that's actually a really nice position for Azure, but can he clean up the army back at home?
Once HuT gets rid of this siege tank, he should be just fine. Wow, those Marines had a death wish. But HuT is actually cleaning up this naturally. Killed the command center, and he's heading towards that production. He's going to be very, very careful with his low hit point medevacs. Azure is doing what he can with his drop here, but HuT is just too commanding of a position. Gets the game. GG, well played.
GG. Wow, it was a really tight game, very back and forth, very evenly matched for a lot of it, and it kind of just really started to change after that SCV sort of trade-off, and he lost that tech lab and never got combat shields.
Yeah, really, maybe that mattered, maybe it didn't. I mean, obviously it's a huge deal, but whether or not it was the decision that cost him the game, It's kind of hard to say. There was a lot of really great movements there from HuT. He did a very good job at deflecting attacks from Azure, whereas on the other side of the map, HuT was always pressuring and forcing lifts off the third, catching reinforcements. I think one of the biggest moves from HuT was when he just stimmed up into the natural with a bunch of Marines, caught a bunch of transferring SCVs while the third orbital command was in the air. So the SCVs are long distance mining. They're coming down from the natural towards the third base. And he's just mincing up those SCVs, catching reinforcements, Marines going down. He's did a brilliant job.
Oh, it was beautifully done. Yeah, really nice maneuvering, and just kept the aggression going. And HuT Azure just really didn't keep up the pace, and eventually got picked apart.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Good first game.
Well, it is a great first game, and game 2 is going to be on Lost and Found, a lot of people's favorite ladder map in this current map pool. I believe it's you like it, yeah?
I like it.
What's your favorite matchup on it?
TVZ. But that's my favorite matchup on every map, so that doesn't matter.
It's a really good answer. That's actually exactly what I would say.
Thank you.
I believe Azure can fight back here. He had a very, very good showing in the grand final last season, so I'd like to see a closer series and see him grab game 2 so we can get a game 3. But maybe that's me being greedy. I'm sure HuT and HuT fans out there just want a nice, clean 2-0. Not me, man. I want more
Not me either, Maynard. I'm with you, man. I want
that's right.
Game series, thank you.
That's right. Full series is every time, all day, every day. In the bottom left here, representing SYF, currently up 1 in the series. This is HuT.
And up here in the top right, representing Legacy, it is Azure.
And we're going to give a big shout out to McDonald's, by the way, who are coming back on board for the WCS circuit, dropping a big sponsorship and just bringing in that sweet esports money, man, making that prize pool look delicious.
So happy to hear this.
A huge part of the reason why we got to have those big LANs at the ESL studio last year were because of the McDonald's sponsorship. So it's good to see them back. Good times.
Good times. I'm loving it. I'm so happy.
That's right.
It really is huge, man. It really is huge for StarCraft in Oceania to have that sort of support.
That's right. I remember we were really excited about the McDonald's sponsorship in the airport and the way back from that LAN. I remember you, me, and Legionnaire. We all got some Maccas.
We did.
It's my first bit of McDonald's in a really long time. I don't eat it all the time. It's not a part of a healthy diet, but it is very tasty. And what better way to smash back a meal?
I'll eat plenty of McDonald's if it means they keep supporting esports.
Actually,
and StarCraft.
You know what? Do you know what I'm the biggest fan of? The nugs. Those nugs, man. I reckon it's about if I'm up late, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. That's the exact thought. If I'm still awake at that point, that my brain switches into where are those nuggets at? Why aren't they in front of me? And why don't I have 50 of them?
50? You dirty boy.
That's right. Hey, man. It's better to have too much than too little. What if I have 12 nugs and I'm still hungry?
Dude, then that's a nightmare situation, and it's one
exactly.
that I'm not taking.
Exactly.
I'm a 24 nugget kind of guy. That's
okay,
how much
so
I'll stay at.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. I need to work my way up. I need to work my way up to 50.
Yeah, you're a mid to late game player. I appreciate that out of you. That's good.
More mid game, I think. I think late game, 50 nuggets. That's when you're macroing.
50 nugs. 50 nugs is the economy you want for a late game and a late night, but it is like a little too greedy, I suppose. You can get punished for it.
I think you will get punished for it when you wake up, but
certainly.
But
we can start talking about StarCraft anytime soon. Just whenever you.
Now you got me thinking about McDonald's.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, me neither.
And I'm a big fan of McDonald's delivery. So.
Oh, they deliver. I don't have that yet.
What about Uber Eats? That'll sort you out.
I do have that, but there's not a McDonald's within my Uber Eats network.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I've got Mexican places and Indian places. Yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah, okay.
This is a nice move from HuT. He's circumnavigating that high ground position from Azure. And he's going to pick off that one Reaper. He's got that DPS advantage. He's diving here.
Oh, man. Big commitment there. I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, he loses his Hellion, but he has that one Hellion of Azure on one shot from death, and he still has that Reaper alive. So he can get up into the main base and scout what Azure's doing, and there's not really any way that Azure can deal with it except for this really hurt Hellion. HuT is just being very, very careful with this Reaper, though. He's basically afraid of that right there. That's Cyclone.
and rightfully so as well. Bit of a trade. I was surprised, man. That grenade actually got some hits off too.
Certainly.
Yeah, but still fun engagement early on. They seem to like doing that little trade-off in the early game. You know, just trade a couple of units off, feel each other up. Okay, that's what we're doing. Now we go back to the very even sort of mid-game. We are seeing Cloak from HuT.
We certainly are. So he's going to basically open similar to Azure from game 1. Azure is opening similar to HuT. He's going for the Viking first, and he doesn't actually have... Well, actually, he doesn't have a tech lab on that starport just yet, so he can't get the Raven at the moment. But having the Viking out sometimes, as long as you have scans, can be enough. Hello, Banshee. You don't have Cloak yet, do you, sister?
See you later.
Yeah.
Runs away. All right. Well, at least he knows, you know. And he's making a Raven in due course as well, so he should be able to have the old Raven Viking combo set up, waiting for this Banshee to come on in.
Mm-hmm.
Second one on the way as well.
Yeah, giving him that time to get that Raven up is important. Also scans just in case as well. Both he's got a reactor on this barracks as well, which means obviously more Marines. But if you don't have a tech lab on that barracks, it does slow down STEM quite a bit. HuT is pushing across the map with 3 Cyclones.
3 Cyclones indeed. Do you think he's going to be trying to pick the front at the same time? Or do you think it's kind of maybe to help try and keep the Banshees safe in a way? Ooh, we're seeing a freebie Cyclone.
Yeah, a free donation to the Feed HuT Foundation, but there is a siege tank and a ball of Marines, and those Cyclones actually cannot defeat that on their own. So this looks like it's going to have a little bit of a self-contained here. Multiple Banshees from HuT just chilling in the north end side.
I think he hasn't seen the Raven and the Viking yet, so he's like, okay, they're waiting up north. I gotta hold off a second. Here we go now. He's gonna be creeping his way in. Will the Raven see it? I think he will.
Ooh. And it's multiple Ravens too, so they can even burn an auto turret, try and really push back those Banshees. Banshee's not doing a whole lot for HuT at all here. HuT's rallying units across the map. It looks like he might want to lock down these tanks and just burn through these Marines, man. But I think that's a little bit bold.
Ooh, well, I think so too. They are on siege right now. Got to be careful when moving out in the map like this. Free Hellion knows where they are.
Good start. And also those Banshees can come down and really be annoying as well. That's why, I guess that's why Azure's bringing these Ravens with him. Uh-oh, don't lose that Raven. Gets an armor shredder on those Marines, which will help out the Cyclones. But Azure with those double auto turrets, tanks still alive, Marines still alive. They don't care that they're covered in Dorito dust. They're going to continue this push.
Dorito dust. I have not heard that before. Oh no, Banshee's getting a lot of free kills there.
Yeah, certainly. You gotta watch more Nathanius, man. He's the one that created that.
That's amazing. Well, another bit of a trade-off in the middle of the map here. As you're ahead in Fly, you're seeing that third base from both players being worked on as well. Stim, pretty neck and neck. Hopefully no tech labs go down this time. We actually see combat shields for Azure as well, because that will be important.
Good boy. Good boy. Running out those upgrades. HuT's got a siege line setting up here. He sees the movements of Azure, but there is a bit of Raven energy, and that one tank got a little too far ahead of itself. That's a juicy volley, though. Getting rid of the Marines is really, really important here for HuT, because he has those Cyclones still.
I'm liking the setup, by the way. It's going to be denying that third base for a long time to come. If HuT was to put it there, I'm sure that was his ideal position to go for.
I mean, he can always expand towards the north, but what Azure's doing here is he's sharking towards the main base. If those tanks get closer to that edge, his air advantage, he can start hitting on that tech lab.
I think it's going to finish in time, though.
Yeah, thankfully.
And it does. But it's before the combat shield once again, so we'll see how HuT handles this.
Yeah,
it's a
he kills the tech lab.
A lot of Vikings as well, man.
Yeah, the air advantage is so huge in TVT. It looks like even one of the barracks might potentially die here. As HuT being very, very patient. Lifts up that barracks. It's less DPS coming out of that Viking than it is the tanks, so good move from him.
Marines going down as well.
Yeah. And that's going to be the last tank out of that factory for now. Tech Lab's gone.
Man, no hold position for Mr. HuT right now. And we are seeing SCVs being pulled out here. Looks like he's going to be trying to run into it, trying to shut this down. Good time to do so. Siege tanks not in play.
And those auto turrets actually got blocked there, but is there enough from HuT to actually clean this up? It looks like there just is. He loses 10 SEVs, but he doesn't die.
There's a good trade-off. He did lose a lot of those critical buildings in the main base as well, with the tech labs slowing down the progress of the upgrade and siege tank production, and quite a lot of Marines too, to be honest, because we saw a lot of them run into the tank line.
Mm-hmm. And he still hasn't lost. Still hasn't. I was going to say taken that tech lab back on that barracks yet. So he's doing it now. Azure, of all people, getting combat shield a lot earlier than HuT.
I love it. I'm loving it.
You're loving it.
I'm loving it.
You're looking forward to the next push from HuT getting quarter pounded.
Trying to think of a burger name right now. The McChicken.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Sorry.
But yes.
Way to distract me, man. Damn it.
We're having a good time. I love you, Midglade.
I love you too, buddy.
We have this push to the third base. Big stim in from HuT. He's got these tanks in the cyclone helmet as well. There's no command center, largely naked. Azure's on the other side of the map, but Azure's push is also just as deadly.
Will it get the command center though? Actually, it looks like this one might survive just in the red. No focus fire on it. Will this one get focused down? Both players.
This one should survive as well.
Yeah, getting what they can, not committing too far. This natural is wide open.
This happens so often in TVT. All those Marines are catching all the Vikings tier of Azure. That Viking advantage was pretty huge for him, and now it's gone. Can HuT
not
hold
sieging
on?
these tanks. I feel like it's a mistake as well. A lot of Marines getting a lot of easy shots off here.
Certainly, but Azure has killed so many workers of HuT. He's down to 16 against the 52 SCVs of Azure. Like, yes, Azure is going to probably get cleaned up here, but if HuT doesn't kill Azure, then the game will end with the next round of units from Azure. He's just got too much economy versus HuT.
Oh man, that is a lot of siege tanks. And they have the vision as well, so tanks are getting shaved off for Azure. Getting pushed further and further back into his base.
Also, Azure is, he has those 3 command centers, but even with all those workers, they're kind of not really doing anything for him at the moment, so that worker advantage kind of doesn't matter at the moment.
Going to be wrapping around with these Marines by the looks of things, but they're out of position. Oh, so many SCVs and Marines going down the ramp here, but on the left side doing.
The left side,
no.
I feel like he wanted to get the SCVs and Marines attacking at the same time.
I think he just could not handle that situation very well. And a whole bunch of Marines were out of the picture for that fight, and I feel like that was the game. That was the game fight, man. If he had to clean it up, he would have been in such a good position. But now he's lost so many SCVs, so many Marines, and GG is called.
Wow!
What? So many tanks, man. Just couldn't handle it.
Just couldn't handle it. A crazy amount of damage there.
I thought Azure was going to win for sure.
So did I. I thought, he'll clean this up and just go with the next push, no problem. But the tanks, man.
I think dropping them may have been a bit better of an idea, because those Marines that HuT had did not have medivacs to heal them. They were pretty damaged up. I think dropping Marines could have done the trick.
I think it was just HuT getting that siege tank position, and when you dug in like that, he cleaned up the tanks of Azure when Azure was sort of doing that, base trade sort of thing when he was attacking HuT while HuT was attacking him. He cleaned up all the tanks.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, well, there you go. Got HuT with a 2-0 victory once again, being coming up on top of Azure, which is basically it was the same result as last season's final.